Taurus and Taurus rising, this is your weekly Astro. I like this new moon for a number of reasons. It's in a complementary earth sign for Taurus. It is in the area of planting new philosophies, new belief systems, new ways of looking at the world. Okay, extremely transformational ways of looking at the world. So it could be that this new moon gives you the opportunity to change your belief systems in some core way or challenge them. Venus is square Chiron. Venus is also in that place of belief systems and looking at the world from maybe a broader vantage point, sort of stepping back and getting perspective. Square Chiron, it says there's some healing that has to be done. There's some surrender that has to be done. And, you know, Aries and Taurus are signs that are not so comfortable necessarily with surrender. They tend to like to be in charge. With Venus square Chiron, I would ask Taurus and Taurus rising to maybe spend some more time in nature this week. Mars is getting closer to Uranus in your first house. It's very tense. There is some tension building for Taurus, especially when we get to that Mars square Saturn on Wednesday. You could find your efforts thwarted by an authority figure, by a parent. It could be that someone isn't maybe respecting your expertise in the way that you want, and you're feeling challenged. It could be that you are, you know, bursting with ideas. You have a lot of things that you want to share, and yet there are some forces out there. Maybe it's the establishment, maybe it's your idea of whoever is the one in charge, but you are not able to move the ball forward in the way you want to this week. The way that you can use this new moon is to, I think, you know, some planning is in order rather than trying to take action. Even though you're going to feel motivated, that action is going to be harder to get done this week. If you can maybe use your ideas, put your ideas down on paper, get them down somehow in the computer on a file, and just kind of consider, you know, it's really more of a time to consider your ideas and what you will do with them when the time is right. I mean, the new moon in that ninth house is a good opportunity to return to any spiritual practice. Certainly we are all, it's a good time for all of us to be in our spiritual practice, but especially for Taurus and Taurus rising, using this time to revisit the ways that you get grounded through some sort of surrender. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's almost like, you know, Taurus, you're grounded. Yeah, vision boards, Nikki's saying that's a good idea. Vision boards in the ninth house, that's tactile. You know, I think that something that you can do in the real world that sort of helps you coalesce that vision, bring that vision into more of the material realm. Not necessarily taking action on the vision, but just becoming clearer on what it is and what it might look like. I hate that this sounds so amorphous. There are just so many squares happening this week that create a sense of tension, you know, a lot of tension. And one of the ways to manage that tension for an earth sign is to be in nature, you know, to get yourself outside, to spend do some forest bathing is what they call it now, to really use that connection to the vibration and the frequency of our earth, which is not a woo-woo thing. It's an actual thing that our bodies resonate to the magnetic energy of this planet. And it actually calms us down. So I would say that Taurus and Taurus rising, this is going to be a really important tool getting through the tension of this week. You do have Venus trine Uranus on Wednesday, you know, so the same time you have this tension, you have this available energy to think differently, or to, I really want to say it's reframing your situation to one that is a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more broad of the what could be. Now it's not happening in the now necessarily, but it is something that you bring into being by just reframing your perspective. I hope this is making sense. It sounds a little crazy, but I'm trying to use the language here of the astrology that I'm seeing. The sun and Pluto coming together just kind of magnifies that need to broaden the perspective, magnifies the need to open your consciousness up to other philosophical ways of looking at what's going on in your life. Sun Pluto can generally, it brings more power to the sun, okay? And it magnifies and even makes extreme in some ways that sun in Capricorn. One of the ways I could see this happening in our culture is more, a more sort of governmental, that the governmental influence becomes bigger. And I'm going to talk about this more probably through the week, posting on my stories, but we're in for a bit of a rocky time culturally this week. It is a little bit, we're building towards that really powder keg kind of vibe towards the end of the month. And even into February, we have this tense alignment that we could begin to see even more of what we saw, hopefully not the same, but more uprising, more unrest.